What is going on, everyone? Parsnip here, and I'm finally back from my trip on Paris and Rome. So for those of you that don't know, on my last video I did mention that I was going out on vacation, and today's finally the day that I got back. So I'm super sorry for all of you who've been waiting, but we're finally back and we're gonna get right back to it. So as always, guys, thank you for the amazing suggestions. As always, you guys never fail to impress me. On this episode, I'm gonna go ahead and continue the build. Nothing really out of this world. I'm just gonna go ahead and start. But one thing that I did like a lot that you guys suggested on the previous video was the music box room that I'm gonna go ahead and start. Now, I did want to do something a bit different for this room, but I'll go ahead and talk a bit more about that when I get actually into the music room. So for now, I go ahead and decide to start closing in a little bit of gaps. As you can tell on the upper part, I start making these cross-shaped structures, and here on the bottom part with the chests, I go ahead and start trying to figure something out, like something that looks like a stair. But I did try to incorporate that dwarven theme that we were having at the bottom a little bit up here, just so that it matches a bit more. So for that, I went ahead and decided to use minecart tracks. So minecart tracks is actually something that's really amazing, and there's a lot of people who do better jobs than me with them. A great thing that you could actually use minecart tracks for is making chains, so they look a little bit better, especially on the diagonal. Now on this build, I might go ahead and try something with chains on the future, but for now I'm gonna go ahead and just make a little stairway up and railing on the bottom part of the dwarven city with the mine track carts, or carts, just the track. So next up, we go ahead and start making the trophy room. So again, this was another suggestions that you guys made, and as always, thank you all for the amazing suggestions. If you have any more, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. If I like them, I'll go ahead and put them on the video, as well as actually use them for my next build, or maybe inspiration for another build or something of this sort. So what I did want to do here on the trophy room is not make it really big. I would just go ahead and make it a bit bigger than like 3 blocks high than your character height. I didn't want it bigger than that, but I didn't want it exaggerated because it's only going to be for trophies. So what I did do is make an arc, and at the arc I considered 3 spaces. And those 3 spaces are going to be very important in the near future, so that I could go ahead and put the trophies exactly in the center. A lot of things to consider when making your build, guys, is what's going to be in it. For example, if that was a trophy room instead of if that was a music room instead of a trophy room, I would go ahead and make that 2 blocks instead of 3. So as you guys can tell as well, I go ahead up back to the top of the tower where I start making a telescope. Now this wasn't actually a suggestion by anyone, but I just decided that, well, a telescope would look pretty cool at the top. So for this, I wanted to make it look a little bit goofy, not completely straight like an actual telescope. That's why you guys can go ahead and see it arc, and I just went by my eyesight. I didn't follow any grids or anything like that, so it might be a little bit off at some parts, but since I am going to change it up a bit in the near future, you guys probably won't be able to tell that if it is off. Well, yeah, it won't be seen. Now the reason that I did pick copper is that I wanted it to stand out a bit. However, as soon as I finished the structure, I decided that it looks a little bit too much orange, especially when I fill it in. It's going to be way too much orange, so I go ahead and decide to just add some wood in the middle. Now this could be anything. It could be something like glass or whatever it is that you want for your telescope. Next up, I decide to make wires to make it look a little bit more realistic, or not realistic, you know, this telescope looks anything but realistic. However, I do decide to continue so that, well, it looks a little bit different. It has more details, is what I wanted to say, into the telescope. So as you can tell here in the background, I go ahead and use wood for something that may or may not look like wires. I guess it's up to you. If you don't like the way this looks, you could go ahead and add actuators so that it doesn't pop out as much as the way mine does now. And next up, I go ahead and do the glass on the telescope. So the glass is pretty much just normal glass. I didn't use glass walls, and you hammer it. So followed up, I go ahead and make like some sort of pointer towards the telescope. Now this pointer is pretty simple. I pretty much just follow the form of the previous telescope that you guys can see here in the background and just continue on. So I did want it to make it like the bottom a little bit thinner than the top. However, it was pretty hard the way I made the telescope curve and stuff like that. So at the end, it barely becomes a bit bigger at the top. I just don't hammer that upper part, like again, as you guys can see here. And that's pretty much what's going to be for you to check the stars or whatever. That's where you're going to look from, not the big telescope itself. Now for now, that's pretty much done with the telescope. I'm going to go ahead and add more details towards it in a bit, but let's go ahead and get back to the trophy room. So like I said, the 3 spaces that I left in the upper area of the build is going to be perfect for fitting in the trophies. Now you probably can tell that, well, not every single trophy is in here. I will make it a bit longer in the future. I think it needs 2 or 3 more rooms so that all the trophies are there. However, for now, I think this looks pretty good. I might add some more details or something of the sort later. You guys probably noticed that I did indeed put a gem spark block in the back just so it stands out more and adds more light. And the gem spark block, since it is in the back of the trophy, you actually won't even know that it's there. I also go ahead and add lights. Again, that's pretty much what I want for the details. So for now, we're gonna go ahead and call this room done. It has 2 types of backgrounds. All the arcs are the same, and in one of the arcs, the inside has rope on the bottom. Again, just a little bit more detail so that it doesn't look too similar. So we can go ahead and start working on the music room. Again, this was a really cool idea that I completely forgot about in my other main build. Is a trophy room with all the, not trophy room, music room with all the musics that's available on the PC version of the game. So I did want to make this a bit unique. As you guys can tell here in the background, it does look a bit different than anything you've probably seen. I go ahead and use copper, stone slabs, stone bricks, and wooden beams, which is pretty much everything I've been using throughout this build to go ahead and just make these not platforms but little stands, I suppose you can call them, on the top and bottom so that you guys can view the music boxes. So with that out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and not complete it right now. Just this music box room took actually 25 minutes to to make, just because it took me a little bit of time to decide what I wanted with it and how I'm gonna make it. You guys can probably tell now that I go ahead and just change the stone bricks on the wooden beams so that they look a little bit cooler. Now, what I do plan to do in the future is complete the music room. I'm going to leave some space to walk in between them and then just put more versions. So as you can see here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 music boxes. In the center, there's going to be another 7, and at the edge, it's going to be more. I'm not actually sure how many music boxes there are in the game at the moment. However, I will try to make it even. So it has 7 here. It might have 10 in the middle and then 7 at the other edge. We'll see whenever I decide to finish this. I just wanted to go ahead and see what it would look like and if I like it. And indeed I did like. So I go ahead and put some Ember Gem Spark walls in the background just so it stands out even more. Now it does get in a little bit of the way from the orange music boxes or yellow music boxes. So I may or may not change that in the future. However, for now I think that gives it more spunk, I suppose you can call it. But yeah, it stands out a lot more and I think it looks pretty awesome. Now, since I did finish this up or close this off, it was pretty troublesome to put backgrounds on the center because, well, I didn't put it at the beginning. But I do decide to use yellow stained walls for those background, and that's pretty much it for this build. I go ahead and just finish up by putting 2 more music boxes, which is what I missed. I'm gonna go ahead and add some details to the bottom, which is It is stained walls, again, the yellow version as always, as well as iron fences. Now, like I said before, I do go ahead and add a little bit more details. I decide to make more wiring in the room, and that would be the with amber glass walls. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.